Well, I do have a word. It's kind of sobering. I was up at the hospital and I was talking to Miss Houston, and David was there, and Jeff and Mike, and you know, this Thursday theme that we have here, that's what Mr. Houston's son Mike, he said, yeah, I said, Dad's been liking coming to that Thursday thing. And
I don't do that anymore.
but I thought, you know, one Thursday you're here, next one you're there.
Amen.
Somebody said to me, they called me up, and they said, we've heard about the Thursday meeting down there at Kelly's. And he said this, and I just listened to him, you get a lot of things. They said that meeting has been very motivating. But the meeting's fixing to take a turn. And it's going to start being penetrating. Neil Houston. At this point, right now, he is laying in the hospital, and in the next couple hours, they will determine what his situation is. It's a critical time. I'm going to give you the word. Now, I told Miss Houston, I said, Miss Houston, I said, I'm going to ask the men to help me, and we're going to push some good your way. And so I want us to end up our time doing that, and I'll share that with you. But it kind of fits in the word. So I got this word about 3 days ago, and so I've had fun with it. I've had to fumble with it a while. It's a combination word. It's the first word that we've had, or that I've had like this to do, in that it's a double word. It's one word, but it's two words. And each word has two meanings, and both of the meanings are opposite. One's meaning is positive, and one meaning is negative. So, it's kind of like being on that, you remember that ride at the fair, Ronnie? It's called the Scrambler. You remember that thing? You get on that thing and it goes this way, and then it goes this way, and then it goes this way, and then it goes this way, and you know, you just...
And then you throw up.
Yeah. You know, so, you know, the bathroom's first go on the right. It's the word upset. That if you flip it, it's the word set up. The word upset is also the word set up. Combination word, double meaning word. Two words into one. Now think with me about this. Upset. Upset is basically two things. If Tom is upset, that's a negative emotional state. But if my team pulls an upset, that's an unexpected victory. Upset. Negative, positive. Setup. Think about setup. Basically, if I say, Greg, you set me up. A setup is a false appearance. designed to bring me harm. If you set me up, you've made me think something's one thing, and your desire is to do me some harm. But if we're involved in setting up this room for the meeting, then that's an arrangement that's designed for a specific purpose. We get it like we want it. That's a good thing. 2 words in one word. 2 states of being, one desirable, the other one undesirable. It kind of reminds you, you say, what is this word? If this word is a window, what are we looking at? If this is a doorway, what's it a doorway to? Upset. Flip it around, you got set up. Well, it reminded me of myself. The Bible says we can operate in the flesh, or we can operate in the spirit. You can operate under the law, or you can operate by grace. You can operate in the darkness, or you can operate in the light. And it depends which one you operate in. It's what the word means and what it looks like. But the thing that I guess intrigued me is when I looked at this, how do you get from one state to the other? How do you come in here upset and leave with an unexpected victory? You know, when I think of Houston, I was up there in the hospital. A lot of people up there are upset. And I thought, oh God, is there a way to turn this upset into an unexpected victory? When does that happen? How does that happen? I don't know all the answers. But I just thought it was interesting. One word. Upset, flip it around, you got set up. 2 polar extremes. And somehow, maybe that will help create a desire. And so here's what I want us to do. I told Miss Houston we'd do this. Maybe our trust in God, maybe our love for one another and the Houstons. What if God could use this group to not just eat and listen and laugh? What if He could use us to produce upsets? Wouldn't that be something, huh? To turn negative situations into unexpected, unbelievable victories. I'm interested in that. I'm interested in that. I know you're interested in that. What if what looks like a bad situation that's going to take me down could be turned into a wonderfully ordered thing? That'd be a good thing. Now, Mr. Houston's, in all practical purposes, is dead. got him on a ventilator. It's just pumping oxygen, just keeping his heart. But more likely, if we took it off, he's in what you'd call a vegetative state. Now, I want to read you a verse, tell you one thing, and then here's what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to ask you to stand up, and I want us to all face toward the hospital. And somebody called me this morning and said, I'd like you to ask the men to speak this verse toward the hospital on behalf of Neil Houston. I'll tell you what that verse is. But as we read that one, I want to remind you of this. And I know you already know. He said this about Abraham. He believed in God who gives life to the dead and calls things into existence that do not exist. A God that gives life to the dead and calls things into existence that do not exist. You know, I heard about a youth pastor out in California, and you know what his ministry is? Raising the dead. Goes all over the world. They gave him a card. The EMTs out in California gave him a card, so every time there's a wreck, he's got access. And this old boy, I don't know that much. I was reading it on the internet. I just know this. He'll be dead people, and he's raising folks from the dead. He's believed God. He believed that verse. It wouldn't be something if we could actually believe some of this stuff. I don't know what God's going to do with Mr. Houston. It may be raising him from the dead is taking him home to heaven. But it may be raising him from the dead is raising him from the dead. Physically, bringing him back. We ain't God. But I believe we've got a God. And I believe he's the same one Abraham had, don't you? Who raises the dead and calls forth. Mr. Houston, he's there. It's like Tom said, you go 5 minutes without oxygen to your brain, there ain't nothing left. Is there a being that could bring that back?